So thank you for coming. My name is Ana Claudia. I am an agriculture engineer, work at Sancoffee in Brazil as the head of sustainability. And I'm happy to be here with you to share a little bit about a program that we have in Brazil with small growers, that through this program we make possible for the producer to access the export market and for buyers to have coffees from small producers. Because we know how hard sometimes it is to have coffee from one single small producer. So yeah, to give you a little bit more about context, Sancoffee, it's a specialty coffee cooperative based in Minas Gerais state. We are in the south of the state. It's a region called Campo das Vertentes. And for Brazilian standards, we have a different kind of business model because we have only 20 members, which is the minimum of producers that we have to have in Brazil to be a cooperative. And the Sancoffee was founded 25 years ago with the clear focus to have producers from our region together and to find markets for their coffees. So back that time it was like when specialty coffee was starting in Brazil, and since then they kept the structure with the 20 members. But over the years, since Sancoffee was growing, and Minas Gerais is responsible for half of the production of Arabica in the whole country. So it's a big production with a lot of producers. And for Brazil, let's say that around of the total number of producers, 80% more or less are small growers. And the definition of small growers in Brazil, of course, is different from the other origins. These producers that we work with, they have an average 9 hectares of coffee per family, which is considered small for Brazilian standards. So Sancoffee, we work with the 20 member farms and 571 small producers that are based as well in Campo das Vertentes region. And these producers, they are organized into associations. We don't work with them individually, we work with them through systems, through associations, which makes sense in our case because we are cooperative, we are a collective of growers. So to work with this collective of growers, it's pretty much aligned with what we believe as cooperative. And for us to start, and before going to this question, just for me to understand with whom I'm talking with, if you could raise the hand, who is producer here in the room? Okay. Who are roasters? Who are importers? Who are in research? So yeah, thank you for sharing. And the question, why buy from a smallholder at all? It was a natural process for us, but we made that question a while ago. And first thing that we truly believe that buying from smallholders, we are able to create a bigger impact. For example, we are 20 members to work with over 500 small producers in our region. We can make like broader the impact that we believe that we are able to have in our community. So to support these producers, their families and their communities, to drive lasting change, we want to create an impact with these producers that endures for a long time, always thinking the long term, and buying from each small producer, we can drive to a systematic change, which is not charity, okay? It makes sense for us since we were like growing and having more opportunities to provide these opportunities for these small growers as well, and source with intention, to have like these direct relationships that everyone's talk about that, but with transparency, with trust, creating a bond with these producers. And roasters, when they try to have like these direct relationships with the small growers, they face some challenges. Maybe lack of traceability, because small producers, they need support sometimes, as access to knowledge, to information, and compliance. And we are in Europe, and Europe right now, we have been seeing so many new regulations, which sometimes it's very hard for a producer to do it by itself, because we are talking about another language, to understand how it works. Consistency, when they work like isolated in silos, they do one thing in 1 year, maybe next year the producers will have a different quality if they don't have like these relationships and this support. Export logistics. I think that people in general think that export coffee or import, for the importers in the room, it's easy, but it's a very complex process to make it happen. And small growers by themselves, that would not be possible. And the communication, the barrier of language. Of course, that nowadays we have AI, we have many things that help us to have this communication, but still, it's one of the difficulties that we see that is faced. And then the reality. Roasters, they want smallholders coffee, but sourcing, it's hard. So maybe we are like in the world of coffee, or we are visiting the origin, or in a local event, we met a small producer, but make the operation happen, make the relationship last, it's a hard process. And with that, back in 2013, we had that thought with that small producers. And why how we see and why is sourcing coffees from small holders, it's considered risk. Here are some challenges. First, they have very small productions. Maybe 10 bags, 5 bags, 20 bags of non-graded coffees that are not ready to export, and they need like an extra support. Another challenge, they have limited technical support. Again, when they are working by themselves alone, maybe it's hard to reach them. In Brazil, we have like free technical support from the government for these small growers. So the question here is how to approach them. Because producers in general, they are always suspicious when someone comes to try to help. Why are you doing that? What do you want from me? Even that's like technical support. So they have this limited technical support. As I mentioned, increasing regulations. So to be like keeping up with the regulations, how to attend it, how the best way to do it. Lack of traceability system. They are producers. Sometimes, not sometimes, the most of the times, they are so focused in producing coffee, which are their main income, that they don't take notes. They don't track everything that they are doing at the farm. And how much fertilizer I applied, or how much of this I did. So this is one of the challenges as well. I believe that when you want a coffee, you want to know where it came from, how it was produced, and all of this information. And because of the rush of the daily routine, maybe they don't have this kind of information. And the export complexity, as I mentioned to you. And some common solutions that we think that would solve the problem, but sometimes do not work well, which is paying high prices alone does not solve the problem. If you want to buy coffee from that producer 1 year, paying an amazing price, you are not changing his life or her life. You are making them happy at that moment, but we are talking here about long term. So this does not solve the situation. One-off training rarely creates less change. So it needs to be constant, to be always there. When we talk about long-term relationships, we are talking about something that will endure over the years, and that indeed will create some change for that family, for that producers. And direct relationships, they are important, super important, but they are not sufficient. We have to have more things involved, people, structure, to create this real impact for the producers. And the smallholders, they need more than only access to buyers. That's the top of the iceberg, is the beginning, but they need more. And they need infrastructure. We are talking about Brazil here, but the reality of small producers there, of course, they are different from other origins, but they lack of infrastructure. So they have maybe only their coffees and a small patio to dry their coffees, but they need infrastructure to improve what they are doing. They need system. They need to be part of something that will support them to rise and to grow as producers, as community. They need constant feedbacks. All of us in life, we need feedbacks. If you want to grow, we need to be always looking for ways to improve. And they need that to endure. They need that have continuity. So it's important things that the producers, they need. So in the end, we need a system. We need a system to support these small producers, and we need a system also to support roasters to have coffees from small producers. And we did that questions to ourselves in 2013, which was when we started our initiative. What if small producers had access to the same export structure and learning conditions as cooperative members? I'm saying that about Sancoffee. Sancoffee, our 20 members, they have in average 400 hectares, some less, some more. So they are producers that they have access to all this structure. They got together to strengthen themselves. And what if we have something similar for the small producers? So with that in mind, we started the Beyond the Borders program, which the name is literally Beyond Our Borders, the Sancoffee. And the program was created with this clear purpose to provide access to these small growers in our region, so they could have same access to the export, to the education programs that we have, and to all other impact initiatives that we have been working on in Sancoffee. And what we do inside this initiative, what are the benefits for the producers? So we have a shared export infrastructure. Sancoffee is responsible for all the logistics and all the process to export these coffees. We are the responsibles to do the international marketing, to go to the events, to know the roasters and importers, and to invite them to know the producers like inside in Brazil. We have been doing the traceability system work with them, for example, to be in compliance with UDR. If UDR starts to work this year, we already have all the data, all the information, and provided all the support for these producers to have everything in compliance with the legislations. And inside the program, as we are cooperative focused on specialty and very guided by impact initiatives, we have in our code of ethics and conduct to work together with these small growers to get them certified by a local certification in Brazil, which is a simple version of Rainforest Alliance, which is not affordable for small producers, But in Brazil, we have in Minas Gerais state a certification called Certifica Minas, which is provided by the government, and there are technicians that support these small producers get these certifications. Why? To help them with the governance, to do a checking if they are in compliance with the legislations, and to help them in a way to manage their farm as a business. Because in the end, independent of the size, it's a business. And to bring these buyer connections. And we do that like in multiple ways. Visiting the origin, visiting the farms, the associations, the communities, and create these relationships that can endure. So same standards and same expectations with the initiative. Second is a shared learning system. We believe that provide access to the market, it's important, but more than that, we want to support the smallholders in our region to have access to training courses, informations that they can develop themselves, and they can have an outcome not only talking about money, but more than that, that they can grow as a person and as community. So we have nowadays a few technicians in the field that provide support to the growers to raise and to get better the quality of their coffees, because as more as they improve the quality of their coffees, more income they have of the whole process. And through that, we have been working with them with quality mapping, as we can see in the second photo, to identify the potential of the quality that they have and what they can achieve if they improve their post-harvest and how they harvest and process coffee. We have been cupping their coffees. Since they are finishing the coffees in the patios, they send samples to our quality lab. We cup and we provide feedback. Hey, this is really good, that you could do differently. You can put this lot with that one. So providing this information every day since they send the coffees for us to cup. Because in the end, information, it's power. If they understand like what they have, they are able to achieve a lot more. And fermentation, post-harvest learning, some experimentations. We are close with them doing that in the daily routine at the farms. And then with that, what's the idea of that? If we do that constant, they will be able to replicate the quality of the coffees. So if 1 year you have a coffee of a small producer and you really like it, the quality, we have been working with them so they can improve and they can repeat that in the following year. So it's not an accident, it's an intentional process that we truly believe that the program brings to them so they can change how they see coffee. And the third one, it's the shared value creation. Because we talked about relationships, connection, the procedures, and everything that goes with that. But in the end, of course, that price, it's something that is important for the small producer, for all producers. But in the end, like the recognition that they receive for the good work that they have been doing, it's something that gets them like really excited and happy that they are in the right way. So through the Beyond the Borders program, we have the shared value. So we have the recognition for the producers, we have better quality incentives, stable participation, because this is one challenge. Last year, for an example, when the prices were high, what do you think that happens in times like that? Someone? What do you think that producers, they do when the price is so high? A what?
Side selling?
Maybe. What else? When prices are so high.
Maybe
They live?
What you're doing. They want to do it by themselves.
They actually, quality is not like a big matter. Because good coffee, bad coffee, they are receiving a good price independent of anything. So to have like this consistency, it's again a long-term work that they can have a shift of mindset. So it's a process, as everything in life, because higher prices, it's funny because for roasters, it's a pain. You are always like looking when to buy, when is the right moment, when I will close the differential, when I will do that. For producers, they are like just going, harvest and go, because the price are good. So what we try to do here is to have like this shift of mindset and to bring knowledge and to bring recognition, because if they don't have recognition for what they are doing, it's a very important part of the process. And what buyers they receive from, like, if they have access to this structured system, if they were able to buy coffees from small holders within a structure like that, they would definitely have better traceability, full traceability of all the coffees that they are receiving, how it was processed, from which producer it came from, where is the farm, how they did, and all the information. We definitely would have a stronger compliance within that, because we have people responsible to support the growers with information and to be in compliance with all these new regulations. A much greater consistency, because with this work focus on quality with the producers, they are not only able to improve quality, but to have like that consistency year after year. A clear communication with them, because within the structure, it's possible, it's easier to have like the communication between both parts. Long-term supply resilience, I think that is one of the things that all of us want in coffee. We want to create a relationship that will last, that we can trust, that we can, the most of cases, know that we are creating a positive impact from out of that relationship. And more credible impact outcomes, as I told you. I'm responsible for the initiative, and really it's beautiful to see the change that a program like that brings to the reality of these farms, these farmers, these families. Because if they don't have also, it's good for both parts, because if they don't also access to initiative like that, they have to sell their coffees in the local market, and they will receive whatever the market's paying. So they will not receive the value addition and recognition for the work that they are doing. So I saw a lot of producers that are part of the program, and they send their kids to college, they build their houses, they achieve their dreams, because dreams are very particular. Everyone has its own, and they are able to do it through a system like that. And here are some numbers so you can understand a little bit the progress that we made through the years. So we started in 2013, the program, and here we are 13 years after. We came from 28 producers in the beginning to 571 producers through these years. So we, since we were like structuring well the program, we were being able to bring more producers on board. We came from 1 association to 12 associations. And just to recap why to work with associations. Sancoffee, we are a small team, and to work with hundreds of small growers, it can be very difficult if we don't do through systems. So we work with the associations, so all the governance aspect we do through the association. So we have the support of their leaderships, and with invoice, with documentation, with reports. We do everything through the association. And we have in the program, of course, besides the value addition brought to the producer, to every exported bag, we pay to the association approximately $10. So with that money, they can invest in a shared infrastructure that will benefit all the growers that are part of that association. And first year we exported 165 bags of 6 kilograms ready to export, and 13 years later, the last crop we exported 9,142 bags. So it's like how we have been growing over the years and bringing these value additions for the producers. And here it's this is Paulo. He's one of the producers that are part of the program. He has 6 hectares of coffee, and these are his words that you can check it out later in our impact report in the section of the program. He said that like Beyond the Borders brought recognition and support to quality where they were already producing. It opened new opportunities to export their coffees and improved their financial stability through better value for our work. More than income, the program changed how he sees himself as a producer. And today, he works with clear goals, seeking consistency, improvement, and produce quality with intention. So he can have like these partnerships over the years. And all this is expectations that we have, and as buyers that we expect from a system, a program like that, require strong systems. So the question is no longer if or whether to work with small growers. The question is how to do in an effective way. So for that, we have to have this inclusion. We have to have the systems that allows these small growers to have access to all this structure. So when we have that, the risks, they get reduced for buyers because they have a system that they can trust, that they will have coffees from small producers with traceability, quality, consistent, in compliance with the legislation and everything that we were talking here. Producers, they will improve the way that they grow coffee, their performance, because they have customers that match with what they believe and are supporting them in the long term. The communities, they become much more resilient because we are not talking about a single producer. We are talking about the community and the families that are involved in the initiative, and impact becomes scalable. We go from creating an impact for one single producer to create an impact for over 500 producers and the communities. And that's like the importance to have like this structure inclusion. And I will let here a little bit more about the work that we have been doing with the Beyond the Borders and these relationships that we have been building over the years with the producers. Our annual impact report, which is this one, you're going to see. And here we share not only about this structure with the small growers, but initiatives as the women empowerment, bring these women that are part of these initiatives to the table, bringing knowledge, bringing information, the young generation. So yeah, that was a little bit about what I had to share with you. And honestly, I have been in Sancoffee for 7 years. So I arrived 5 years after the program started. But through the relationships that we build and the companies that we work with, we were able, and we are seeing that in the daily routine with the producers, that how these systems, how having producers together and how having support of roasters, importers, buyers, we can achieve much more than doing by only single producers. So we, as a cooperative, we truly believe that change life, and it's what we have been seeing in the farms. So yeah, that's a little bit about what I had to share with you. Obrigada for being here. Obrigada is thank you in Portuguese. So thank you for being here. I don't know if someone has like any questions or want to share something, feel free to do it.